I haven't done this before, but I feel like it's a lot better to do this whole job without the e-brake. So put a tire chuck on and release your e-brake. So here you can see that these studs were completely stripped out and the lug nuts were also pretty stripped out. So first you'll want to take off the brake caliper. I did it in two parts just because it's easier to separate it out. And then you take off the rotor. Mine was pretty easy because the screws on there were not tight at all. And then here you can see just how messed up the threads were. So I'm trying to figure out now how to take out the studs without having to take off the entire hub because that cap was not moving. To take off the studs, what you want to do is just thread on a lug nut. Mine were pretty screwed up, so it was a little complicated. It kept getting stuck, but just thread it on by hand. Don't use an impact or anything. And then you just hammer it real hard and it'll pop right out. Then right here I found that if you push it where the head of the stud is just past that little lip there, you could move it down and it'll fall right out. Then right here I found if you kind of wedge it up in there and then just do the opposite, clear the head from that lip and then grab it really gently and pull really gently by the end of the threads that are poking through, you could just get it right through. Just be really careful of those threads because you're putting it on an angle and you don't want it to strip the threads. Then to tighten the new ones in, I just had a small washer, I think from a razor bike, like a dirt bike thing. Put that in between the lug nut and the stud and just tighten it up. Initially by hand, and then you could use more force. It also helps a lot to use a pry bar to keep it from spinning. Then when you're putting back on the rotor, just make sure you line up those screw holes. Then at this point, you just want to put the brake caliper back on. It's just the opposite of taking it off. So these are the old studs, you could see, completely trashed. These are the new ones. Not too hard to get it on. And I cannot stress enough when you are dealing with lug nuts or studs at all, always do it by hand first. So always make sure you torque your wheel down and let down the jack, but not all the way. I always set this to 90, so I'll go ahead and do that. And that is a rough guide on how to replace your studs.